They thought she had nothing left. The moment Sarah walked out of the courthouse, her mother-in-law stepped directly into her path. "Don't bother coming back to the house," Margaret said coldly. "It's a family home now." Sarah looked past her. Her husband, Ryan, stood several feet away with another woman beside him. The woman was young, pregnant, and wearing a diamond bracelet Sarah had given Ryan for their 5th anniversary. Ryan wouldn't even look at her. Sarah could have cried. Instead, she smiled. "That's interesting," she said. Margaret frowned. "What is?" Sarah adjusted the strap of her handbag. "Because I already sold it." Ryan's head snapped up. "What?" Sarah looked directly at him. "And there's something else you should know." She paused. "Your company isn't yours anymore." For the first time that morning, Ryan looked afraid. But he had no idea how much Sarah had discovered. 6 years earlier, Sarah had married Ryan believing she had found her best friend. They had started with almost nothing. Sarah worked in finance. Ryan had an idea for a software company. When he told her he wanted to build it, Sarah believed in him. She used her savings to help him rent his first office. She introduced him to investors. She spent nights reviewing contracts while Ryan worked on the product. Whenever someone asked how Ryan had built the company so quickly, he smiled and said, "I just got lucky." Sarah never corrected him. She didn't need applause. She was his wife. She thought they were building something together. Then Ryan became successful, and success changed him. He stopped asking for Sarah's opinion. He started coming home late. He began taking business trips that seemed to have no business purpose. And then there was Chloe. Chloe was Ryan's executive assistant. She was always around. At first, Sarah ignored it. Then she noticed the little things. A hotel receipt. A restaurant reservation for 2. A perfume scent on Ryan's jacket. When Sarah asked about it, Ryan became angry. "You're being paranoid." Sarah apologized. She actually apologized. That was the beginning of the end. One Thursday evening, Sarah came home early from work. The house was strangely quiet. She walked into the kitchen and stopped. There was a suitcase on the counter. Then she heard laughter upstairs. Sarah slowly climbed the stairs. Her bedroom door was open. Inside, Chloe was sitting on Sarah's bed. She was wearing Sarah's silk robe. Ryan stood beside the window. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Sarah looked at Chloe, then at Ryan. Finally, she noticed Chloe's hand resting protectively over her stomach. Sarah's heart sank. "How long?" she whispered. Ryan looked away. "Sarah, how long?" "Almost 6 months." Sarah felt the room spin. 6 months. For 6 months, Ryan had looked her in the eyes every morning and lied. She looked at Chloe. "Does his family know?" Chloe smiled faintly. "Of course." That hurt more than the affair. His family knew. They had all known. Sarah walked downstairs without saying another word. The next morning, Ryan's mother arrived at the house. She didn't come to comfort Sarah. She came to tell her to leave. "My son has moved on," Margaret said. Sarah stared at her. "This is my house." Margaret laughed. "Ryan has paid the mortgage for years." Sarah said nothing. Margaret continued. "You should be grateful he's willing to give you anything." Sarah almost smiled. "You're right." Margaret looked surprised. Sarah walked into her office. She opened a locked drawer and removed a folder. Inside was the original purchase agreement. The house had been purchased by Sarah 3 years before she met Ryan. Her name was the only name on the deed. Ryan had never owned it. He simply convinced everyone that he did. Sarah closed the folder. She wasn't ready to tell them. Not yet. That night, Sarah called her attorney. "I want to sell the house." Her attorney paused. "Are you sure?" "Completely." "And the company?" Sarah looked at the financial records spread across her dining table. "I want everything reviewed." That review uncovered something Sarah never expected. Ryan hadn't just cheated on her. He had been stealing from his own company. Money had been used to pay for expensive gifts, luxury trips, private apartments, and personal expenses. Sarah had spent years protecting Ryan's reputation. Now she realized she had been protecting a lie. She contacted the board. She handed them every document. Then she stepped away. She didn't make the decision for them. She simply gave them the truth. 3 days later, the board suspended Ryan pending investigation. Sarah received one message from him. "You are destroying my life." She stared at it for a long time. Then she typed 3 words. "No, you did." and blocked him. The divorce hearing came 2 weeks later. Sarah arrived alone. Ryan arrived with Chloe. Margaret was beside them, smiling as if they had already won. The divorce was finalized quickly. Sarah asked for nothing from Ryan. No support, no settlement, nothing. She simply wanted her freedom. As Sarah walked toward the courthouse exit, Margaret stepped in front of her. "I hope you're satisfied," she said. Sarah looked at her. "Satisfied? You ruined my son's life." Sarah took a slow breath. "No, Margaret." She opened her handbag. "I stopped protecting it." Margaret frowned. Sarah continued walking. Then Ryan shouted behind her, "Sarah!" She turned. His face was pale. "What did you do to the house?" Sarah smiled. "I sold it." Ryan froze. "What?" "The sale closed this morning." Margaret's mouth dropped open. "You can't do that." Sarah calmly replied, "Actually, I can." She handed Ryan a copy of the deed. "You never owned it." Ryan stared at the document. Then Sarah gave him the final piece of news. The board also removed you as CEO. Ryan's face went blank. "You can't do this." Sarah shook her head. "I didn't." She looked him directly in the eyes. "Your own actions did." For once, Ryan had nothing to say. Months later, Sarah moved into a smaller apartment. She bought new furniture. She started traveling again. She stopped checking Ryan's social media. She stopped explaining herself. And most importantly, she stopped feeling guilty for choosing herself. One evening, she sat beside her window with a cup of coffee. Her phone rang. It was Margaret. Sarah almost ignored it, but she answered. There was silence on the other end. Then Margaret said quietly, "I was wrong." Sarah looked outside. "I treated you like you were taking something from my son." Sarah didn't respond. Margaret continued, "I didn't realize how much you had given him." Sarah closed her eyes. She could have said many things. She could have reminded Margaret about the money, the sleepless nights, the lies, the humiliation, but she didn't. She simply said, "I hope you understand now." Understand what? Sarah looked at her reflection in the window. That loving someone doesn't mean allowing them to destroy you. There was silence. Sarah continued, "I spent 6 years trying to keep everyone happy." She smiled softly. "Now I'm finally learning how to make myself happy." She ended the call. Then she took a sip of coffee. For the first time in years, Sarah felt completely at peace. She hadn't lost her marriage. She had lost the illusion that she needed it. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't watching someone fall. It's realizing that you no longer need them to regret what they did. Sarah didn't get her old life back. She built a better one. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more emotional and unforgettable stories.